All right, so a little bit of a different video today. I had a buddy, I'm gonna actually walk over here, squat down, maybe be in frame. Had a buddy ask me how I make arrowheads from the bottom of a beer bottle, like this Michelob Ultra bottle here. So figured I would record a video and show him. In order to get the bottom of the bottle off, let me actually come over here so I can maybe see. You can see I got probably like 2.5 inches of water at the bottom of that. Take it, hold it at the base of the neck. I'm over here, spot that it doesn't really matter if I get glass everywhere. Rubber mallet. You just smack the bottom of it, not the bottom, the top of the neck, and the bottom will pop off. You can just remove the excess with a rock, but there you go. I have the bottom popped off. All right. So I just have a 5-gallon bucket here. There's other options on what you can use to catch your flakes. A lot of people like to use like a little kiddie pool. Stick your chair on one side, and yeah. But from here, you'll just take a small rock and got lucky, pop that whole entire section off. Go around the side, hitting right along the edge. And I'm not sure if it's on camera or not. I do not wear safety glasses. Anybody is going to try this, wear safety glasses. I've gotten to the point in which I'm confident in my napping that I won't send flakes absolutely everywhere, so I no longer wear them. It's still dumb. I should be wearing them. Anyways, up over here. You should now be able to see it's not clean, but I've removed most of it. What I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to continue going until all of the bumps around the bottom are gone. I'm going to keep going at it. And hope that this turns out nice. I might end up flipping it over, go from the other side, which, yeah, after this round, flip it over. At this point, I'm really not worried about any large flakes like I took out right there, because this bottom of the bottle is large enough. I might end up using some copper tools. The last one I made was with antler. I'm a lot more comfortable with antler. It's what I've worked with for like the 7 years I've done this. I have a copper pressure flaker. I had a bopper or two. I don't know where they went. I need to remake them, or considering buying some from Ryan Gill over at gillsprimitive.archery.com. He makes good tools. Makes good everything primitive related, actually. A little bit more right here. I'll show in a second what it looks like. It's a very battered edge, but that will get cleaned up. So get the light shining on it a little. There's no more of the ridge going along the side. From here, I'm going to switch to a pressure flaker and a leather pad. just a rolled up leather. And I'm going to go with antler for right now. Might swap over. I will say, if you can tell on my fingers, you might end up seeing blood. Part of flint knapping. I'm not really going to try to explain a whole lot what I'm doing. For the most part, I might here and there a little bit, but there's very good examples of how flint knapping works on YouTube already. Like I said prior, Ryan Gill at Gill's Primitive Archery, Hunt Primitive on YouTube. He has very good videos on flint knapping. He has a how-to for beginners. It's a long video. It's over an hour long, but he's one of the guys that really knows what he's doing. The only thing I'm going to move slightly might help with what you see. For when I'm taking flakes off, you take your flaker, you push in and down, and that will remove a flake. You essentially do that over and over and over again to shape your piece. And I'm not sure how well it's going to come up through audio. You can tell by sound as well. Like, I'll try to pop a good one here if I can remove that flake out of there. This is me just grinding the edge down with the pressure flaker a little, strengthening that platform. It's not a great platform, but if you listen, a solid pop. Wasn't a really high pitch. That was a decent flake, not amazing. Compared to a bunch of crunches like that. Those are still not bad, but they don't run. This little rock here, just a piece of sandstone. It was like 4 times bigger, but I've been using this as long as I've started. Just grind down that edge, braid it is what it's called. And because of bottle bottom, it is concave on this side. Yes, I had to sit and think about the right word. And it's convex on this side. You want to remove most of the concavity before you start working on the convexity, because if you start just popping flakes off on this convex side, you're never going to get rid of the concave, and you won't have a flat arrowhead. It'll have a curve in it like how the bottom of the bottle has. So just keep popping flakes off. I'll show you the underside of this here in a second. If I get the light shining on that, you can see what I'm doing. Removing all of those flakes on this side here, which will drive in. I'm going to start moving up and around. I'm basically going to try to what's called biface this out, just make it a flat piece, and then I'm going to shape my arrowhead from that. And where I broke it, I really hope that's in frame where I put that there. I need to put it more this way. Okay, so that is a square edge. I'm just going to zigzag that. I'm actually going to swap to my copper pressure flaker for this just because it's got a finer tip on it. I can do it a lot quicker. Pop a flake, flip it over. 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 You just keep doing that for the entirety of the square edge. I'm not really trying to push down and in, I'm trying to just push down more than anything. I'm not wanting to drive these flakes. If I do push it down and in, I'm trying to push it similar to how I just did that one. That flake went from here all the way down along the side. I move this over a little bit. I'm recording on my phone, so I don't have like a screen or anything I can look at. But I will push at an angle down and in to drive it along the side and along with what I'm trying to remove. I think I might actually stick with this copper flaker from here on out. I don't have any more square edge, so that's good. Going to braid all of this. Make sure that it's nice and won't cut me. Come on. Might have braided a little bit too much. Also, when I'm pushing these flakes, not sure how well it comes across on camera, I use my legs. I'll put my wrist up against my knee and push with my knee in. And it helps give you that power to actually drive those flakes. Though you also don't need to do that. You can just use your wrist for most of it, but that's how you get a, I want to say that's called napper's wrist, because you'll start messing your wrist up if you're doing it wrong and putting too much pressure in it, which when I started, I didn't know what I was doing. Still really don't, to be honest, but know a little better now. Now that didn't really do a whole lot there, so I'm going to braid this again. Very well likely just over braided that again. But we'll find out on this one. Does not appear like I did. That was the sound of a hickory nut hitting the top of my garage. There we go. You see that right there? That flake. Try to hold that there. This flake came off. If I can get on there right. I don't think exactly like that, but you get the idea. That one went probably good. Oh, I'm going to call that about a centimeter in. Another one. This area is very rough, so I'm going to just chop it down. No in and down force, just grinding this away pretty much. I realize in order for you to see what I'm doing, I might want to move this over here more. Braid that a little. And just continue at it. And this is a very shit edge here. Excuse my language. So I'm not trying to drive anything deep into the glass. Everything there was maybe drove in about my fingertip there. That's probably, what, 2-3 millimeters? I'm really bad at metric, but I prefer using it because you can get more precise measurements. Might get a lot of flack in the comments there. That doesn't want to go, so I'll just move over more. That one went. Continue that down along. I know I'm doing exactly what I said you shouldn't do, and I am putting a lot of wrist movement into it instead of leg. So let's switch that. Just looking at the stone, trying to figure out where would be the next place I should attack. To show you, here's the bottom now. You can see starting to slowly approach that concavity. Still have that little bit more in there, but right about here, tip of my index finger, point at it with the pressure flicker, right here. I'm going to go for this area now. And I'll try to get a good flake off on that spot specifically. Bear with me. Right here. Just to show you what I'm talking about a little bit better, but I don't know how well I'll be able to do that. I'm going to braid it slightly. That's really not the best platform, but I'm going to send it anyways, which is dumb. And you can see that big flake removal right there. That is what I've been doing the whole entire way around this. So I'm just going to continue. I'm going to remove that small. One of the downsides of working glass and obsidian, until I have glass all over my hand. If you ever do this, just make sure whatever you're using, wipe it off, knock it off, wipe your hands off. Try to get that glass off of you because you will cut yourself, and glass is sharp. I know that sounds like common sense, but Even just yesterday, I cut myself quite a bit doing this. I'm not sure what style of arrowhead I'm gonna aim for yet. See that right there? I basically had that platform set up pretty bad, and I instead took a chunk of glass out, but that's not that big of a deal. Still have the whole piece to work. Anyways, as I was saying, I'm not sure what style of arrowhead I'm going to go for yet. I'd like to go for a desert side notch or Cahokia, because those are the styles of arrowheads in which I like to make. But sometimes you don't always get what you want. I might make more of an Edwards style of point. I do like Edwards as well. I believe it's like Edwards Plateau. That was a nice flake right there. Don't know if you can see that or not. That went clear from this corner all the way to here. Left a little bit of glass on there, but pick it out with your fingernail. It's tight. So, again, anyways, Edwards, those are nice. I have made a few of those, but not many. I think what I'm going to try to do is where it's a little bit pointed right here. That's where I'll probably get the most amount of length. So I'm going to have to push this back a little bit to get it more in line and centered. But I am going to braid this side down a little. Just using my abrader rock to take a few flakes off. Not many. I'm almost to the point in which I want to start sending some flakes across the convex side, but I'm going to try to avoid that for as long as I can. Try to really get this bottom flat, or not really flat. I want that convexity, not convexity, concavity removed. I'm not pushing these flakes in far enough. Yeah, I should probably take a few flakes off. Maybe not sending them real far, but I'll take a few. For this, I'll bring out a different tool from what I was using. And maybe that's where I'm going wrong, because the last one I did, I didn't seem to do too great of a job. Where is it? It's over there. I bought a pack of antler tines for like $3 from Neolithics, I think. This was a long time ago. Saw this little tool in there. I've been using it as a bopper, just a very lightweight bopper. What these are called, boppers. And you just take the edge, completely clean face here. A little bit of like a thing there, but take it. That wasn't great, but you can see that piece was taken off. I'm going to go from the other side, which needs abraded a little bit more. There's another one. They didn't meet, but that's all right. I might stick with pressure flaking. I'm not being able to drive flakes too well today, it seems. Yeah, I'm going to stick with the pressure flaker. In which case, chip this edge down a little bit. A braid. Make sure you clean your pad. I need to get a new pad as well. Down and in, down and in, down and in. Those are a little better. There's a bit of a step fracture. It's where the stone terminates and it leaves a small ridge. Like you can tell I'm pushing. There's a little bit of a raised up platform there. I have to attack that from this side, try to get rid of it. Piece of glass in my finger. See if I can't. I'm gonna actually. I know I like antler more. Yeah, yeah. Today seems like it's probably more of a antler day. I just took most of that off. I'm gonna come right beside it. Clean that up a little. I'm actually not gonna do that. Clean it up is what I'll do, but I'm not gonna drive it too far. Try to take one there. That was two different flakes. You heard it pop twice. I need to grind this down a little bit into a finer point. I don't have any fine pointed antler pressure flakers. They all get worn down. Yeah, that was bad right there. That was not what I wanted. Going to a braid, go more at the concave side. Yeah, some of theirs are going pretty deep. Those ones at the tip went all the way 4. No, that is not 4. That is like 6 millimeters. Anyways, sorry for the pauses like that. I keep hearing noises from the chicken coop. Well, just did what I didn't want to do. Took another chunk out. But it is what it is. And I need to start taking some more off the back. I'm going to go back to this, try to take a single decent flake off right here into the middle. Oh, that was not what I wanted. That is a bad step fracture in the middle now. Shit. Pop this down. Man, I am not doing what I want to today. Wow. This is going pretty well the opposite of what I was intending for, especially on camera. Well, good news is the tip has practically all of the concavity removed. It's going to end up being a smaller arrowhead than I was hoping for. See if I can't run a pressure flake across this. Okay, there we go. That was a good pressure flake. See if I can get the glare to show. All right here. I try to go up towards the tip more, take one off right here. Really doing the legs here. That one was a perfect flake. That went from right at the tip of my index finger all the way into where this step fracture was and removed a fair bit of it. Going to set up another platform down a little more. And hopefully do the same thing, removing even more of it. I need to get out of the habit of grinding like that. A braiding should be done like this. Right about here, there's a small platform. I'm not really talking much about center line. Probably should, but you should have a center line going around. I don't really do that. That's why my points don't pop out fantastic. But I'm going to try pop that flake. You can see what it did right there. Everything here up is going well. Everything back here has not been so far. So, I'm going to try something. I've always had people tell me, hey man, be careful taking flakes off the base. Specifically trying to run long flakes. So yeah, I get that. But you do it right, it's not a problem. But the question is, am I going to do it right? We're about to find out. Because this could very well pop the arrowhead in half. or do exactly what I wanted it to. Because that flake went from the bottom here, took out all of this, flattened that center out just like I wanted it to. I'm going to go a little bit more over. Not directly where that was taken off. Probably about 2 millimeters over more. Pop another flake. I actually retained that flake too. I'll show you. You can see what I removed there. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go more this way. Probably right about here. Pop another flake from the base. That one also removed a pretty substantial bit. So we're getting flatter. I can remove one here. That one was a really nice flake. Remove one here. That was about where I took the one prior to it as well, but it was a little bit over more. Really not trying to show too much. And explain fully what I'm doing, but there's definitely still a small bit of curve in the point, which realistically, from what I understand, isn't the end of the world if I were to try to actually use this. The arrow might fly a little funny, but wouldn't be too terrible. I think I might actually try to go for an Edward style point. That seems to be a little more what this bottle bottom. No, it's probably going to be a side notch. Yeah. Took off a little bit more than I wanted there. That is fucking... That is not a spider. Make sure I'm just actually still recording. 16.2 gigabytes left. Okay, 18 minutes in. It's not bad. So I'm going to go... This is about the final edge that I'll have on this side. I'm going to take this edge, push it more in, probably about to here. It'll be more of a elongated point. So not really trying to drive flakes for a lot of that. But might actually a little bit. Might actually just taper that point in more. No, I'm gonna go a little more narrow. I'm abrading a lot more as we get to the final piece, as I would like for the piece to not have a bunch of cracks in it. Not crack. What am I saying? Bunch of crumbled platforms, crushed platforms, instead of actual good looking piece. Now I do like where that's at, so I'm going to start working the base a little. Not really trying to run super long flakes at the base. This one will be, though. Try to thin it out just slightly more, which that one was good. Maybe one right here. Not super long, though. And then check that. That's about right. See, it's starting to get the triangle shape. The point's a little off center. I'm going to move it more towards this side than that side. Lose a little bit of length, but it'll be all right. At this point, I'm going to try to avoid abrading a lot. I'm going to instead rub the tip of my pressure flaker to remove some of the weak edge, and then pop small flakes. Do a small abrade. Keep it away from the tip, though. I find putting too much abrading towards the tip that I will break the tip instead, which is not what you want. This is almost where I would want something more. Oh, just dropped the abrader. More along the thickness of that, which I might even be able to. This is a very small piece of antler. I do not advise using a piece of antler this small. Not fun. Hard to hold. Work that tip in a little more. I'm going to laugh I go through this entire video. Find out I was basically never in frame the entire time. And I have to do it all over again. It's like that right there. You might not even be able to see that. No, you can't. It's just at a distance. Taking very, very fine flakes. Believe Ryan Gill, can't tell I really like that guy, says razor sharp tips. No, sorry. Needle sharp tips, razor sharp dips when it comes to sharpening. I don't really sharpen my points yet. I go more for looks. and I will eventually start sharpening. Like that right there has a small edge, but his points, if you were to do that, you would cut yourself really bad. My dog just jumped up on the door trying to look at me. Anyways, this has a little bit of a belly coming out. Don't know how well you can see that. I'm going to try to straighten that. That is not fantastic, but it's better. I'm going to do something I shouldn't. I'm going to try to run a flake here because it's got a thick tip. That did what I wanted it to. Now that I've gotten to here, I don't have any good abo notch makers. This is literally just a branch that's getting moldy that has a nail stuck in the end. And I will go right up to about here. Pop a flake there, flake next to it, there, next to it. That one was a good one. There, next to it. Clean that up a little bit. There, next to it. There, next to it. Really don't need to go much deeper than this, so I'll probably just dull that notch up. There's one notch. Try to get them even. There, next to it. Right there, next to it. There, next to it. Clean it up a little bit. Sorry for that noise. I really should have muted my phone. A little bit deeper. Yeah, ever so slightly. Probably one more flake. And that is the way that napping goes. I go one more flake and I snap it in half. Realistically, what I could do here is I could just make a smaller point, could come in here, not use that one, take this instead, knock off this ear. I mean, hey, I could actually even do a completely different style of notching this time. That flake went too far. I just overshot a pressure flake and took part of the edge off. So I'm going to go for a completely different style now. Figure I might as well show two different styles that I do particularly enjoy making. This one is more of a corner notch, where I don't know if you can tell by the name or not, the notches come in from the corner. So there's one notch there. And I'm going to try to make it look relatively symmetrical with the notches. I don't know how well I'm going to be able to do that. One side seems to be... Okay, yeah, they're good. Take this side up a little more right here like this. Anyways, that right there. I'm not really sure where this style of arrowhead would have been made, but or if this even really is a style of arrowhead. Let's see. Let me squat down a little bit here. It's relatively thin. This side, I didn't get all of it, but pretty small little arrowhead. Anyways, that is how I make an arrowhead from a bottle bottom. Thanks for watching.